Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and today is Wednesday, where I answer your questions. If you want to have a question answered, put it in the comments below. I got some really great questions. There's some really cool stuff that I discovered in doing this video, so you're going to learn some really cool things. We're going to get into the questions right now. This first one is from Black Box Silver and Bronze. He asked if I could show the Silver Age Flash's Rogue Gallery first appearances, and he basically listed them all out, which was very handy. And we're gonna see how many of these I actually have, because I actually do like the Flash, and I was enjoying the series on was it on I forget where it was. It was on, well, for me it was on Netflix, but yeah, so I was enjoying that Flash series, and he asked me to show all the Rogues Gallery. So we're going to start out with Silver Age Flash himself. He's not a rogue, I know, but we got to show him. So this is Silver Age Flash, Barry Allen, and it's just a cool character. This is his first appearance in showcase number 4, and yeah, just I enjoyed the movie. I like, the modern Flash, this Silver Age Flash. And then we get into his rogues. So who are some of his rogues? Well, the first one that most people think about is Captain Cold, who made his appearance in showcase number 8. This is one of the earliest of Flash's rogues from the Silver Age. So this is showcase number 8, probably the most expensive of the rogue books. Then we get into the top, and that's the top. Actually, the top's on the cover, which is always great. Have a weird enemy, but actually kind of fun. Spins really fast. So useful. So that's a Flash 122. And then we get into another interesting villain. This is Abra Kadabra, and this is in Flash 120 or 128. Yes, 128. Okay, so that's 3 down. Then we get into another one, Heat Wave. This is Flash 140. And so you got Captain Cold, and then you got the Heat Wave. The CW is what I was trying to think of. CW, yeah. Flash 139. This is the first appearance of the Reverse Flash. So another major villain for the Flash. And that's, oh, sorry, I should mention 139. Then we got the Trickster. This is the first appearance of the Trickster in 113, Flash 113. And then we have Captain Boomerang. And this is the first appearance of Captain Boomerang in issue number 117. And then we have Flash 105, which is the first appearance of the Mirror Master. Really cool character. Actually, when they did him in DC Zombies, wow, what a cool character. Because he can go through mirrors and stuff, and when he's doing it as a zombie, oh my goodness, so powerful. This is Flash 105. And then we got Flash 106, which is the first appearance of 2 major characters, the Pied Piper, Pied Piper, and Gorilla Grodd, another cool character. And then we got one character that he didn't mention, but is kind of a, was a rogue at the first, Elongated Man. This is Flash 112. And Another interesting one is Flash 110, which is the first appearance of Kid Flash, and also the Weathermaster. So those are all the ones that he had on his list. I had extra one for him, which was Elongated Man, which is Flash 112. So that's the Rogues gallery. So pretty a huge gallery actually. So 1, 2, 3. I'm counting them. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 characters. I mean, just pretty great Rogues gallery. So those are Flash's major villains. I hope you enjoyed that. Next question is from Mike Swintel. Have you ever thought of making a list of all the first appearances you own, or have you already done that already? I never really thought of making that list because it would be kind of a big long list. I'm a very much a first appearance kind of collector. Like you saw that with the Flash. I have all the key villain appearances. I was really into, like, before I did YouTube, like a few years before, I was collecting all Silver Age, so that's why I had so many of those. But in terms of making a list, what I usually do, and this is kind of my method, and it's not really a list per se, like in the proper way. What I usually do actually is I have my want list. So I actually go after key first appearances. It's a fun thing for me. I love having those first appearances. So generally what'll happen is I'll have my want list, and it'll be just like first appearance, like Action 1 or Batman 1 or, you know, Batman 3 or, you know, whatever key first appearances there are. And I'll just kind of have those go off, check those off eventually, you know, and gradually my list gets smaller, and then I'll add more to it because I'm always looking for new things. And so what happens though is these lists, these want lists of mine, I have different versions of them where, you know, I save it every few years. And if you look at my older lists, it has like other key first appearances compared to my modern list. So if you kind of use all those lists together, it would create like a master list of all the key first appearances that I've collected over the years and which ones I actually have. But I never formally did it. The closest that I come to that is through basically Cover Price, where I basically have all, like, well, a fairly large number of my comics databased, and you can search key first appearances in that. So really no proper list, but these are the weird methods that I use to track some of my first appearances that I own. Actually a pretty good memory for all the key first appearances. So I know which ones I have for the most part. Sometimes I will randomly buy the same first appearance if it's a minor character that I don't realize that I still, like, I have their first appearance already. So I almost did that with Abra Kadabra when I was showing the Flash ones. I was like, oh, did I have that? You know, I didn't realize I had that book. So yeah, so those are the kind of things where I'll make that mistake where I'll sometimes forget and end up buying multiple copies of the same key first appearance. Okay, this is actually the last question, which is from Collecto6. And it's a very good question. We were talking about the sales that happened with Superman 1. I mean, there was some major sales that happened with Superman 1 and very disappointing sales. So I recommend, if you haven't watched my Sunday videos where I show the hottest comics of the week, there was actually a very crazy Superman sale where Superman 1, which had sold for 2.6 million, then later sold for 1.6 million. So it went down $1 million. It was like what I call the steal of the week, a steal of the century, really. There's been a lot of talk about Superman 1 lately because the prices for it have really dropped. And not just on Golden, where it was one auction, but on Heritage also saw a major drop in the price. So he asked the following question from that discussion. Can you tell me more about Superman 1 early reprints? And where does the cover image come from? Okay, so basically I'm going to get into Superman 1 and tell you a lot about it because I did a lot of research. Actually, I didn't know that there was reprints of Superman 1 until he mentioned it to me. So, I was kind of curious about that. But first I'm going to quickly discuss the cover of Superman 1. Now, a lot of people don't realize that it's not an original cover in a way. What it is well, it is an amalgamation of a cover in a weird way. What happened was the inside panel, which is Superman kind of in a cool action pose, is from Action Comics number 10. And it's just a panel that was used in Action Comics 10 that looks cool. Then that center panel was done by Joe Shuster. Then Leo O'Melia basically drew a frame around it, and that became the cover for Superman 1. Now, Superman 1, this is a cool piece of trivia. You can use this, going forward and be really cool about it. Superman 1 is not actually Superman 1. You're probably wondering, well, what are you talking about? Superman 1 is Superman 1. Well, it is not. It's not Superman 1. There is no such thing as Superman 1. And yeah, you're probably really confused and probably think I'm crazy. But what happened was Superman 1 originally was done as a one-shot. So they didn't bother numbering it. There's no number on the cover, and there's no number in the indicia. So basically, it is not Superman 1. It is non-numbered cover in comic. It was only later that through the, it had massive sales. And that's why there's actually 3 reprintings of it. So there's 3 reprints. 3 first edition and then second and third. But I'll get into that in a minute. Well, there was just so many sales for this book that they said, hey, well, how do we do this as an ongoing series? Because what was different about Superman 1 or Superman non-numbered from any book that had appeared prior was that it was one that was focused on a single character. And that was unusual. Usually if you open up an Action Comics or Batman or not Batman, Detective Comics or some other book like that, you would find that it's multiple stories. It's like stories from different genres. It's stories from different characters. It's a mix. It's an amalgamation of stories and characters. Whereas Superman 1 really just focused on Superman. That was the difference about it. It's the first book that did that. And that success of this kind of solo-focused book drove the concept of doing these single-character books like Batman 1, Wonder Woman, and all those. So kind of interesting in that respect. But also it had massive sales. So they decided, hey, we're going to go create number 2 and 3 and so forth, and the rest is history. Superman 1 was originally published in May 18th, 1939. Now, when it was published, they published 500,000 copies of it. They published a lot of it. However, they decided, it's sold out. So they decided to publish another, in the same year, another 250,000 copies. And then later, they said, still in 1939, all of this is in 1939. They decided, hey, well, those sold out. Let's publish a few more. And they published 150,000 more. Now that means that there was 3 issues, printings of Superman 1. The first print and the second and third have slight variations, very slight. And pretty much they look exactly the same. There's nothing in the indicia that says, oh, this is the first print, this is the second print. There's nothing in the date, which is June 1939, which is on all of them. There's nothing in that that indicates that these are different printings. The difference, and this is how you can tell whether or not you have a first, second, or third, is that there was a difference in one ad. There was an ad for Action Comics number 14. And on that, it basically says the sale date for Action Comics 14 is June 2nd, okay, 1939. And if it says June 2nd, that's the first edition. If it says on sale now on sale, actually, you got to be precise here, on sale now, it's the second or third editions. And that's the only difference. So really this book came out prior to Action Comics 14. So, you know, the first edition or, you know, first printing would say, you know, on sale June 2nd for Action Comics 14. But the later printings within the same year would say on sale now. So it kind of says that, it kind of gives a hint at when these subsequent editions were, subsequent printings were done, which was after June 2nd. So kind of interesting, a little bit of history. Another cool little piece of history inside of Superman 1 is if you look at the panels for Superman's logo, they are all different. The logo on Superman's chest is different between panels. And that's because every single one of those logos was hand drawn. And between stories they'd be slightly different. So he would, you know, they were hand drawn by Joe Shuster. But for the most part, they would, you know, because it's hand drawn, you can't be 100% exact. So there'd be slight differences in the logo for Superman's crest. Kind of a cool little tidbit. But one other thing, there are 5 stories inside of Superman 1, and the first story is a unique story to, it's not a reprint, and it is called Clark Kent Gets a Job, and it basically is a retelling of the origin story of Superman. So that's kind of one of the keys about this issue of Superman. Another thing, so, and then the next, the next story is from Action 1. It's the coming of Superman. And then there's 3 more stories which are from Action Comics 2, 3, and 4. So it reprints those 4 stories from early Action Comics. And that is everything you ever wanted to know or needed to know about Superman 1, but probably never wanted to ask. But here it is on this channel. And that's the kind of answer that I give if you ask me a question to answer in the next video. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and bye for now.